Hello, Legionnaires. This is Max Liao from Legion of Myth, and in this segment, we are cracking open Palladium Fantasy RPG First Edition combat to see how initiative, attacks, reactions, armor, and melee flow when you stop going by memory and start reading the rules. Oh yeah, did I just go rules as written on you guys? Well, that's what we're here to do. We're here to look at them. I don't care how you play at your table. Some of this is harsher, stranger, and even more revealing than people remember. I know it was for me. So stay with us. Reminder, we prioritize questions and comments from members and super chatters, and if we do not cover every section of the book that you desire, you can pool your resources to pick up the missing content and help keep Legion Myth digging into more books. So like, hype, subscribe, comment, and share. There we go. Sorry, I'm alone. I have to do all the clicking. What is that? What is that? What about the Japanese? Yeah? What, I'm confused. I will, but I mean, why was the Japanese important? Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. My wife bought it's Japanesey drinks. And here's the name of it. Oh yeah, Go Japan. Where the hell there? Go Japan with all your weird names. And by the way, so there's 3 different versions of this. I feel like I'm advertising, and this is gonna be on the video now too. There are 3 different versions of this. There's Aquarius, which is the good one. There's Picari Sweat, which is the okay one, and then there's one called Calpis. That's not the same thing. It doesn't say Calpis. It doesn't say Calpis. Yeah, but it doesn't say it in English. They can't read Japanese. Well, there you go. But actually, when you get it in the bottle, it says Calpis, C-A-L-P-I-S, I think. But we all call it Cowpiss because that's what it sounds like and kind of what it tastes like. There you go. I just advertised for Japan for some reason. Now let's get to our video. Oh, my wife is awesome. So let me get the comments up there. Now this is a Palladium Fantasy role-playing game First Edition, and I just want to remind folks I've had a bunch of people. Holy crap! There were a couple of comments on YouTube. I got a couple of DMs on Twitter. I never check Twitter, so that's not a good place for you to DM me. And I got a couple of messages behind the scenes, either hoping for or asking if, hey, can I get a copy of that? I don't find it anywhere. I don't know. I don't know. That's all I can say. I think they have a hope of putting it on drive-thru or the Palladium website, but there's no cover for it right now. So there's the first problem. And secondly, I don't know if it's, they've got many other things going on at the moment. So I don't know what their plans are. I know they have thought about it because they mentioned it to me behind the scenes. Like, ooh, this could be a good idea. There are other things that get in the way with that. You got idea, then you have practical application. And even if you say, dude, I don't care if it has a cover or not, Palladium isn't going to give you that. That's just not how they do things. We can't even get them to give us print-on-demand books when we say, I will sign a waiver saying I don't care how the print comes out as long as I can have a hard copy of something. They're like, So I don't know. With that said, thank Wayne. Wayne was the guy that put this together. Because I think Kevin told him that if he didn't do this, he was going to be the first person on Mars to go test the atmosphere out there. And Wayne was like, okay, I'll do it. And he did put this together from the old school 1950s plates that they had to do. It was basically like the Gutenberg press. He had to put all the little letters together, run it through, and to make this copy for me. So there. Thank you, Wayne. That's the moral of that story. Now let's get into what we are talking about. Today we are going to be covering the combat section. Yeah, right here. Combat right there. Funny that it's under Men of Arms and not in its own section, but whatever. I'm going to be covering combat. And then in the next video, we're going to cover wizard and spell magic. So let's start off here on page 41. I think for me, that is like 49. No, 46. 47. I was close. Already, I like this layout. I don't know about the order of operations and whatever else here, but already I like this. Let's figure out what our terms are. and move on. The terms melee. Yeah, I'm not going to read through all this. I'll let you read it while I take a drink. Oh, I should have drank this guy Pocari's sweat. Just kind of gross. By name alone. All right. Hand-to-hand combat. All combat rolls are determined by rolling a 20-sided die. Okay. That hasn't changed, at least. Can I zoom in on this just a little bit more? Okay, a little bit more. Like 250, maybe? That should be good. Determining combat skills. Each Men of Arms OCC has a specific range and orientation for combat. I think we looked at that last week when we kind of skimmed through the Men of Arms OCCs. We saw that each one had its own combat table. I'll even do this. I'll scroll back here. It's a live stream. For the people who are watching some video later that complain about wasting time, it's a live stream, folks. You just get the video after the fact. You should have watched it when we were live streaming this. Okay, there we go. Wait, where is it? Where are they? Is this it? Here's the forks. Nope. I know I saw it in here somewhere. Identify planet. That's all skill stuff. Combat reference. Oh, here we go. So hand-to-hand assassin, hand-to-hand ranger, hand-to-hand. You get the idea here. Hand-to-hand longbowman. So each one has a different style. So let's or different numbers assigned to them. So going back up here, the particular abilities are listed under each OCC's hand-to-hand combat table, as we just looked above. Initiative. When two opponents square off for combat, an initiative roll is made to determine which character strikes the first blow or has the initiative. This is done simply and quickly by each player rolling a 20-sided die. The higher roll has the initiative. In the case of a tie, each player rolls again. Okay. Roll for each new melee round. Yeah, roll for each new melee round, turtles. Roll each new melee round the way God intended. Not this satanic roll once and just leave it at that nonsense. Somebody needs some holy water. All right, let's move on. This will set the pace for the entire melee round. Even though both characters may have 2 or more attacks per melee, the character with the initiative will always have the first attack for the entire round. The opponent is on the defensive, parrying or dodging and then striking back. Sneak attacks. No initiative roll for the first melee round. Yeah, you don't have to roll initiative to see if you go before the guy that doesn't even know you're there. Sneak up on him. Nuh-uh. I might go first and still not know you're there and dodge. Yeah, that doesn't make sense, right? So, no initiative roll for the first melee round. When someone sneaks up, roll or attack from behind on his opponent, he has the initiative. It's automatic. Don't even roll. The opponent is unaware that he is about to be attacked and has no time to prepare. The sneak attacker has the first strike. His victim stands totally unaware and does not even get a parry for the first strike. Take that as the thumbnail image. If the opponent survives the first strike, he can gather his wits and strike back and or parry the next strike, but still lacks initiative for that melee. Okay, nice and simple. I get it. Let's move on. Damage. This is the damage sustained to the armor. Here's a question for anybody who knows Palladium going all the way back. I know Detroit is close to Canada. But why are they using these words? The hell? We're American. Do use those use out of there. Yeah, this is a satanic book. The Satanic Panic should have attacked this book for the use. The amount of damage points inflicted is determined by the type of weapon used, skill, and applicable bonuses to damage. Example: a short sword generally does 1d6 or 1d6 points of damage. Large sword 1d8 or 2d12. A character may also inflict additional damage through the acquisition of combat skills, attribute bonuses, or special weapons. The damage points are subtracted from the armor SDC. and the physical body or hit points. So this is back, remember, there's no SDC in this game, or I guess this term physical SDC, over your hit points. The only SDC over your hit points is your armor. Nice and simple. Not gonna lie, I actually prefer this conceptually. I don't know if it work in a game like Turtles or Rifts or whatever. Well, Rifts is already MDC, but you know, with more higher powered weapons. But I like this. I think that swords should be able to kill in one swing. In fact, if there's one change I would make to this game, and this is a personal preference, is I would add exploding dice in. So it is possible to be killed. Like, I got 9 hit points. You can't kill me with that short sword. Want to bet? Like, sure, it's probably not going to happen, but I can. So, do you call the sister to your parents aunt or aunt? Aunt, AUNT, aunt. Ant are insects, and nobody likes insects. Kill them all. The only good bug is a dead bug. Most of the people I know say ant, though, and it drives me crazy. A character may also inflict additional damage through the acquisition of combat skills, attribute bonuses, or special weapons. The damage points are subtracted from the... Oh, I already read that. From armor's SDC or hit points. When a person's armor SDC is reduced to 0, it affords no more protection. Basically, you put enough holes in that to make it Swiss cheese, or it's falling off, or hanging by threads, whatever. But it's not working anymore. Having been whittled down to nothing, 0 hit points means the character sustained maximum damage is on the verge of death in a coma. See the section on hit points. Attacks per melee. Men of arms are skilled in the art of hand-to-hand combat and generally have 2 or more attacks per melee upon reaching 3rd level. Attacks per melee are the number of strikes attacks a character can attempt within 1 melee round. Non-men of arms only have 1 attack per melee, unless they've chosen a hand-to-hand combat skill elective. The reason non-men of arm characters only have 1 attack is because they are not trained in the ways of combat. A high-level wizard may be devastating with magic, but when caught in a one-on-one combat situation, a mid-level man of arms is going to mop the floor with him. And I think that is the right way to go about it. Now, to be fair, I don't know how the spells are in this edition of the game in terms of power level and whatnot, but I like the fact that, okay, I got to be careful that I say this because there's a lot about this version I don't know, so I'm making some presumptions here. But what I like about this game is it doesn't stop you from, hold on a second, I have to scream at something. Okay, I'm back now. Where are we here? Is I like the fact that I don't think there are limitations to the weapons. But you're just not going to be as effective with the... Hold on a second. So what I like about that is I think that gives you a little bit more flexibility as the wizard. You know, you don't have that, I got a -5 to use a sword. It's like, I can't use it. No, you can use any weapon from what I understand. You're just not going to get the bonuses for it because you don't have it as a weapon proficiency necessarily. We'll look at those when we look at the wizard class in the next video to find out a little bit more specifically what that is. But you're just going to be a little bit slower, a little bit more unsure of yourself in combat. I bet you that the bonuses for going up are also less. And I think that makes perfect sense. Why would you want your wizard to be able to fight as well as your fighter who literally spends, you know, days, weeks, months, years training? That's like me saying that because I took some martial arts back for a couple years when I was younger in my 20s, I'm just as good as somebody who trains in MMA every day of the week right now and has cauliflower ear. Doesn't make any sense. So so far I like this. Let's see. Magic attacks and hand-to-hand combat. Most men of magic get 2 magic attacks per level upon attaining a certain level of skill. This applies only to the casting of magic and is not applicable to hand-to-hand combat. We will find out more about that, at least my guess is, when we cover the wizard in the next video. A spellcaster actively engaged in hand-to-hand combat, parrying, dodging, and taking damage is too busy to concentrate on spellcasting. They cannot cast spells while directly involved in hand-to-hand combat. The Mind Mage is the only exception to the rule. He is able to strike both psionically and physically simultaneously. But that's because he's using his noodle just to go pew, 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 just like that. You have to touch your forehead or your temple when you do it, just so you know. Where the magic user is doing humming, and dancing around and prancing like a little girl. So a spellcaster will break concentration 90% of the time if struck a painful blow, preventing the casting of a spell. Note this applies to both men of magic and clergy. Magic combat, see the wizard section, next video. Let's move on. So far, very cleanly written. I'm sure there are holes in here. I haven't played it, but very cleanly written. What I would like for you Palladium fanatics out there who are always like, well, actually, I want you to look at it. Don't tell me based on your gut. Tell me because you know. In Palladium Fantasy 2nd edition, you start with 2 or 4 attacks if you have hand-to-hand basic expert or martial arts. I think it is 2 still, but I can't remember off the top of my head. No, Palladium Fantasy wasn't a game I played a lot of, and I certainly didn't run it. But so far, I'm just gonna be honest with you. So far, we're barely into it, but I'm liking this book. I think more than 2nd edition. It seems to be cleaner. I wouldn't be able to give you that true assessment without actually playing it, though. So, all right, hand-to-hand combat rules. Strike. A strike is the attempt to hit an opponent. After the initiative has been determined, the character with the first strike strikes first. I wonder what he's thinking when he wrote that. It was like, first strike strikes first. You're not supposed to use redundant language, but you know what? This just fits. The defender may parry or dodge the strike and then strike back. You know what I also like about this book? And this just tells you how old I am and things that I don't agree with some changes. I love the 2 spaces between sentences. Love it. It clearly defines a sentence. I know you don't have to do that anymore. It's an old typewriter thing, but it's cleaner to me. To determine a strike, a 20-sided die is rolled by the attacker. Any roll above a 4, so that's 5 to 20, hits doing damage to the opponent or his armor, unless a successful parry or dodge is made. So far, no talk about armor rating. Interesting. So it looks like you get 2 attack in 2nd edition. You get 2 actions for being alive and 2 for the hand-to-hand base. Okay, I wasn't sure if it was that way. So, okay, I have heard people argue about it, and I know I could just grab my book behind me, but it's easier to ask you guys and more fun. Parry. A parry is the blocking of an attack. As a result of their combat training, all men of arms get an automatic parry unless forfeited in favor of another action. I wonder what that means, okay? To parry a strike, the defending combatant rolls a 20-sided die. If the parry roll equals or is higher than the attacker's roll to strike, the attack is successfully parried, preventing any kind of physical damage. There you go. Defenders always win ties. Already said it in that initial paragraph, but nice clarification right there. Personally, I don't think it's necessary, but as somebody who also does technical writing, I think that is a good clarification. It's like, wait a second. And then he even gives you a third. Gives you an example. Warrior A rolls a 12 to strike. Warrior D, oh, I get it. Warrior attacker, warrior defender. Okay, I see that. Automatically gets to parry the strike unless he forfeits or dodges. Warrior D rolls a 14, bettering. So roll 14 is higher than 12. Let's say it right. 14 is equal to or higher than 12 and is successful in parrying the blow from Warrior A. No damage is done, and Warrior D readies for his counter strike. All right. We got a super chat. You know, you're 1 penny under, which tells me you're doing this from an Apple device, which means not only is YouTube taking 30%, but Apple's taking 30%. So for like $7, okay, thank you very much, Mondo. Mondo has been a really good supporter of the channel. He comments on every video. Thank you. Really appreciate the super chat. I think he's a member as well. I can't tell from the super chat channel. So he does all the good stuff for Legion Myth. Thank you very much. But he says, bring back 2 spaces and sentences and 2E. Well, I think now it'd be like 3E if they were to make a new edition. But yeah, the new Palladium style guide specifically says 1 one space between sentences. And in their defense, as much as I don't like it, even the MLA, which I despise, and the Chicago Manual of Style, which is the one I like, even says, and I think it has for probably 20 years, has said, you know, one space now. I still believe in hyphens between E and male and stuff like that, you know. But thank you very much for the 1999. You're awesome. So, all right, let's check on dodge. A man of arms may opt to dodge a strike by moving out of the way instead of parrying. However, the act of dodging negates his next attack. Okay, that's some very interesting verbiage there. Let's just see what, before I make my commentary, let's move on here. To dodge, the player must announce that he is dodging and forfeits his next attack regardless of whether the dodge was successful or not. That's twice in a row I've seen the same language on this. The reason the dodging person loses an attack is because he is moving out of the reach of the attacker, meaning that he is relocating his position. The movement involved uses the time he would normally be using to attack. To dodge, a 20-sided die is rolled exactly like a parry. The defender must equal or better the attacker's roll to be successful. This is the first rule that I don't know if I like. To be fair, I'm jaded by playing Palladium in a different manner for a long time. Don't get me wrong, it's clear. It's understandable, you know, it follows the technical writing rules of clear, concise, consistent, and accurate. It hits all of those. So, boom, good. The thing is, forfeits his next attack. That's the part that I'm kind of hung up on. At least the way I run is if you have 2 attacks per round, I get it. But let's say you have 3 attacks per round. The attacker attacks you and you dodge. Well, okay, I used my action to dodge. Are we right back at the original attacker again? Because that's not the way Palladium runs, say, in 2nd edition. The way it generally runs there is you used an action to do that, so you're minus an action, but now it's still your turn. See what I'm saying? So that's an interesting clarification here that I really, really like it in terms of clarification. I just don't know if I like it in actuality. Though, you know, he explained it and it makes sense. I think it's just that I hate change is the is the issue. So, okay. All right. Yeah, I absolutely despise simultaneous attack, Walter. I absolutely despise it. I think it's probably the dumbest Palladium combat rule. But we'll read what this says and we'll see if it's different. We'll get to my reason when we read it, if it's there. So, actually we are there. Okay. And I want to be very clear. If I wasn't used to Palladium already, I probably wouldn't have been like, whatever. I would have been like, okay, moving on to the next one because it is cleanly written. So, okay, it's countered by a very niche rule or niche ability that the vast majority of people will never have. Unless you're a Munchkin power gamer. So no, it's still a dumb rule. And let's see what it says here. Combatants can parry or dodge others' attacks, or they can forfeit any type of defensive maneuver, possibly taking damage from the opponent's strike and strike back simultaneously. The advantage of simultaneous attack is that while opening oneself to damage, it deprives one's opponent from parrying or dodging the counter-strike. By the way, again, very great use of, man, I miss writing in the 80s. Ones. That's gender neutral for you, folks. Maybe that's why I like this book so much. It's written in a manner that's actually written like it was written by an adult, not a child. The reason the attacker loses his opportunity to parry when the defender attacks simultaneously is that he cannot both attack and defend at the same time. Thus, both combatants can possibly take damage from each other's blows. There are some very niche circumstances that I can see something like that being a reasonable concept. If I'm Mike Tyson and you're Mortimer Snerd, I'll let you hit me all day and night because I'm trained to take that punch. You're not going to hurt me, and I can punch you at the same time, plus it'd be kind of funny. Absolutely get that. Okay, once again, you're Mortimer Snerd out there, and you're wielding that short sword, and you're barely holding it up, and you barely have the ability to use it, and I'm in plate mail armor. I might let you take a poke at me. Might. Because the chance of you knowing how to use that sword well enough to do anything with it, okay, that's kind of funny. But no, and I mean no combatant ever should ever willingly, under the most outside the most dire circumstances, be like, huh, you've got a sharp pointed bladed object that could kill me in one hit. I'll take it so that I do something to you. And yes, I've heard the whole, when I lived in New Mexico, I heard about the whole Mexican knife fighting thing where they're willing to take it in their arms and you know, so that, well, one, you kind of lose your weapon. I don't know how true it is. It might be true, might not be true. I'm not trying to act like it is true. In a cinematic style game, maybe that is something that would be interesting to do, but never, ever, ever, ever should anybody be like, I'll take your flail hit just to hit you at the same time. Ever. That means you don't know what kind of damage those weapons actually do. It's ridiculous. That is the problem with any game, not Palladium, any game that doesn't have the ability to kill with a weapon in one strike. This is why I would use exploding damage. Especially in a game like this that doesn't even have SDC, it just has hit points. Uh-oh. That 1d6, and I've seen it happen in my Earth Dawn games, that 1d6 damage can explode. Anybody who's played Shadowrun knows. Anybody who's played the Free League games know those sixes can come up, and then you're re-rolling. All of a sudden, that damage becomes murderous. Then this rule is perfectly fine. I don't care. If you want to risk your life and do that, that's fine. Other than that, every single time I've seen simultaneous attack used in a Palladium game, it has always been because, well, I know he can't kill me with that shot, so I'm okay. And I know I've got more SDC, MDC, whatever than he does. And that is absolutely the most asinine reason to use that. So that's beyond metagaming to me. That's get off my table. So everybody thinks I got a haircut. I didn't get a haircut. I'm just not wearing my headsets. I got a haircut like 2 weeks ago. That's just how short they cut it 2 weeks ago. But Squirrel Hermit for $50. Thank you very much. Says, love the haircut, now chug. And you know what? I guess my wife was prophetic because she brought the freaking brandy. Stuff that made me drunk when Kevin and Sean were on. I can't believe that. I'm serious. I was feeling it a little bit. Where's my shot glass? Oh, there it is. Hiding. Squirrel Hermit, thank you very much. And for those watching the video later, yes, if you $50 or more super chat, and I drink. Oh, jeez. I'm not even drunk yet, and I damn near spilled it all over the place. Wasting my wife's cooking brandy. We just haven't gone to the alcohol store yet to get more. Oh God, I hate brandy. I don't hate it. It's just not my favorite. That's for sure. I need a good whiskey. We got to go there and get whiskey before I think this crap through. All right. Well, thank you very much, Squirrel Hermit, for the $50 super chat. You are awesome, sir, as always. Oh God, brandy. She did offer me vodka at one point, and I was like, I'm not sure I want to do vodka straight. All right. Thank you, Squirrel Hermit, once again. Oh. All right. A lot of chat going on here. I'm going to, I'll come back to some of that later because I don't want to get into an argument over simultaneous attacks, which I'm sure is what's going to happen here. So we'll do that toward the end of this here. Again, just want to remind folks out there, especially for those watching this on video, you can find all the edge cases you want. I don't care about edge cases. I'm talking in the standard situation, okay? There are edge cases for everything in life. And that's where the game master can do rulings. But for the standard situation, nobody should ever be like, you got yourself a longsword? You can't kill me. I'll take it so that I can, you know, stab you with mine or hit you with, you know, my weapon, whatever. That just, it doesn't make any sense whatsoever to me. And you're never going to convince me, no matter if your post is this long or this long. I've heard it all before. Let's move on. Non-men of arms, parry and dodge. Uh-oh. So we have a difference here. Oh no, we haven't done multiple attacks. I'm sorry, we haven't done multiple attackers. Wait, do we even read simultaneous attacks? Combat? No, we so they can forfeit. Defensive maneuver. I don't think we read this. Is that while opening oneself to damage, deprives? Oh, yeah, we did. Did we read this? Did we read simultaneous attack? Deprives one's opponent preparing a dodge and counter. The reason the attacker loses opportunity to parry and defend. I don't think we did. It's just, it's Read so much Palladium. I'm going to read it again or for the first time. Either way, I'm doing it now. Combatants can parry or dodge each other's attacks, or they can forfeit any type of defensive maneuvers, possibly taking damage from the opponent's strike, which is my issue, and taking strike back simultaneously. The advantage of simultaneous attack is that while opening oneself to damage, it deprives one's opponents from parrying or dodging the counter strike. Yeah, I did read this. The reason the attacker loses his opportunity to parry when the defender attacks simultaneously is that he cannot both attack and defend at the same time. Thus, both combatants can possibly take damage from each other's blows. Now, as you know, we kind of commented on it for the chat there. I don't know if first edition has it, but paired weapons, at least in second edition or in other Palladium games, allows you to parry and attack at the same time. But a normal person two-handing that long sword isn't going to be able to parry and attack at the same time for the flow of combat. All right. It'll be a parry and then an attack. All right. Multiple attackers. There'll be times when a character is besieged by more than one opponent. Unfortunately, he can only attack one at a time and may elect to divide the number of his attacks per melee between the attackers or concentrate on one only. So if you have 3 attacks per round, you can attack 1, 2, 3, you can attack 2, 1, or you can attack. So there you go. The lone defender can parry all attacks that are within his line of vision. If an opponent steps far to one side or behind him, the defender cannot parry the strike because he's concentrating on assailants in front of him. Non-men of arms. I want to put that up there. Thank you. Non-men of arms parry and dodge. Characters with no combat training do not get an automatic parry. The player must announce whether the character is attempting to parry or dodge. No announcement means no parry or dodge. Any bonuses to parry are from what little weapon skills that character may have with a practice weapon. So basically, you spend a little time learning how to use the weapon, so you're not dropping it on your toe or something, but you're still not a man of arms. Okay, no problem. Lacking a skill at arms, any such maneuvers count as an attack. This means that if a wizard attempts to parry or dodge, he forfeits his next strike. To prevent the loss of an attack, the non-fighter must hold his ground, taking any damage from the attack and then striking back. Okay, I like this. I actually prefer this to the more modern way. I think it's simpler. Also, the thing that I like about this is I saw it on the Discord. So for most folks out there, the channel is private. I want to make it public someday, but I have to look into Discord permissions in order to make it public without people being able to interfere. But there's a group of people doing a TMNT game on my Discord, and they're chatting in there. And one of the characters is like, "Oh my god, I don't remember the exact verbiage, but I'll just go like, I didn't take hand-to-hand basic. I need to do that." No, you don't. You don't have to do that at all. In fact, I was happy that the game master convinced him not to. It's like everybody, I have to have hand-to-hand basic at least. No, you don't. What I like about this is this basically says, man of arms, you already have your hand-to-hand skill. You're not man of arms, you don't. And it's almost like, and I'm not going to put a name on it, expert basic martial arts, but it's like, you spent your time learning how to fight. You have not. And I like this. I actually like the fact that if you're not a man of arms, you have to spend an action to parry. Do I necessarily think it's fully realistic? No, but, because when you think about it, I can parry, I can strike, I can do, but there's a lot of things. This isn't a life simulator. It's game mechanics, okay? And if you want to yell at me about simultaneous attack, that's the argument you use against me that I can't really fight back with. Okay, it's game mechanics. I just don't like it. So anywho, I actually like this, and because I think I don't want to say encourages, it almost mandates that you don't have a hand-to-hand skill necessarily if you're a wizard or a psychic or whatnot. To be fair, I do like the ideas in second edition with the basic, the expert in martial arts, and commando and assassin and whatever else is out there. I do like those, that you can pick those as selections. But I like that this not only encourages, but also just basically dictates that if you're not a fighter, you don't fight well. You're clumsy. You're just clumsy out there. You can parry, but you have to think about it more. So it's going to be an action. Wincing when you're doing it, right? I like this. I do. I'm the type of guy that doesn't play a lot of fighters. I would be the wizard probably. Saying. Okay. Bonuses in combat. So we got attribute bonus, skill bonus, strike, parry, dodge, damage, and saving throws. Ooh, we're going to get into saving throws. All bonuses add to the character's ability to successfully accomplish some action. Bonuses are added to the die roll, modifying the final outcome of the roll. Most bonuses are cumulative. Okay. Attribute bonuses are bonuses gained through physical or mental strengths that give a character an extra added degree of agility, strength, endurance, etc. See the 8 attributes, and I think we covered that in the first video. Skill bonuses are pluses gained through study, practice, and training. Weapon proficiency bonuses directly pertain to combat skills, denoting the level of expertise with a particular weapon. This provides bonuses to strike, parry, and strike by throwing that weapon. Oh yeah, a lot of people corrected me, and I think there are a couple comments on YouTube. We were going through that table last week. It's like, it's throwing, it says it right there. I knew it was throwing. I was just trying to get through stuff, and Heathen Dog had already made his mind up, and I wasn't going to waste any more time on that. It didn't matter. Plus, I knew we were going to kind of get to it here. Or at least I suspected we'd get to it in the combat sections. I wasn't stressed over it. But I know how I do the same thing sometimes. I'll see a YouTube video where somebody makes this little nuanced error, and I got to be, oh. It's okay. Just timestamp. Just please, for the love of God, give me a timestamp if you're going to complain about something. I'm not watching my whole video again. And if you think I will remember this video come, I don't know, tomorrow, you're crazy. Especially one that's like months old. All right, moving on here. This skill bonuses are pluses gained through study, practice, and training. Weapon proficiency bonuses directly pertain to combat skills, denoting the level of expertise with a particular weapon. This provides bonuses to strike, parry, strike with throwing weapons. A person can use a weapon at which he has no weapon proficiency, but has no bonuses to strike or parry. This is my one little flaw or issue that I have with the weapon proficiency system with Palladium. I feel that either if you're not trained, I feel you should either have a penalty, or I think that the initial bonus that characters who are trained get should be a little higher. I've always kind of felt that that an untrained person using a weapon, firearms are a bit different. We're talking about for melee weapons. I always felt that for melee weapons, an untrained person is competitive with a trained person. And I don't think that's necessarily an appropriate thing. I'm not saying jack it up to +5 or something at level 1. I'm saying maybe give people who aren't proficient a -3 penalty, or give somebody starting off with a weapon proficiency a +3 penalty, and then have that go up. Because remember, it only goes up like at levels, and I don't know first edition, but in second edition, something like was it 1, 3, or 1, 4, 7, 10, 13, if I remember correctly. So it's not like you're getting a million bonuses, which is good. I don't want Pathfinder. But I think front loading that portion even more, or in my mentality, better yet, yes, punish them. Putting a penalty in there for people that don't have a weapon proficiency. Like I said, I think 2 or 3 is good enough. I'd prefer 3. I think if you go 5, that's too much. 1, why even have a penalty at that point? But I do think that there should be something like that. That's always been kind of something that's stuck in my craw. Is like, oh, look, I'm 7th level and I get a +3 to hit, and you're first level and you have a +0 to hit. Wow. I'm an expert, huh? I know other things come with that. Hip toss and kick attacks and whatever else. It's just been one of those things that always kind of bugged me. I don't know. Maybe I'm the only one. Maybe I'm the only. Most people don't, Rocky. Most people don't. And that's how he wins. I'm just saying. I'll leave it at that. Bonuses to strike and parry. Most characters, especially men of arms, will have 1 or more weapon proficiencies. The weapon proficiency bonus to strike and parry is added to the number rolled on the 20-sided die, boosting the chance to successfully strike and parry. Example, if a character has a +1 to strike with his weapon and he rolls a 13, it'd be modified to a 14 due to the weapon proficiency bonus. Very simple. again, I know I'm pulling out a couple of quibbles here, but I'm really really liking this. I know it started with Violence Solves Everything, but he wasn't the only one. There are a few other people that said, dude, you got to cover first edition. You've got to go back. It's like, we know that Palladium Fantasy isn't necessarily your thing, but go back and check out the first edition. You guys weren't wrong, at least not yet. So far, we'll see how I feel, because I actually do like the mana, or sorry, the PPE of magic. I do prefer that to attacks per round. Don't do it. Don't say attacks per round in rifts and all this other stuff. I don't care. But I do like the PPE and ISP system of the more modern version. So we'll see how I feel when it comes to the next video, right? This video is too long. I don't care. All right, bonuses to dodge. Dodge bonuses work exactly like the bonus to parry or strike, adding to the die roll, increasing the chance to successfully dodge. Example, 14 is rolled to dodge by a character with +1 to dodge. Final result is therefore a 15. And remember, to successfully dodge an attack, you have to roll equal to or greater than the roll to strike. So in this case, if the attacker rolled a 15 or less to strike, your roll of 14, because it is modified to a 15 with that +1, successfully dodges the attack. Bonus to damage. Damage bonuses indicate the amount of extra damage inflicted in an attack. A damage bonus may be gained by the combatant's level of combat skills. A special weapon, raw physical strength, or any combination of the three. Example, a warrior has a +1 to damage in hand-to-hand, +2 damage due to strength. Oh, it's okay. It's just those two. I thought you were going to add the third one in there. So it's +1 to damage to hand-to-hand and a +2 damage to strength. If he hits with his large sword, normal damage is 2 to 12. He would do exactly 2d12 plus 3 damage. So he'd roll 2d6 plus 3, and that's how much damage he would do. Minuses to strike, parry, or damage are usually the result of magic, poison, drugs, illness, or fatigue. These penalties are subtracted from the die roll, decreasing the chance of a successful maneuver. And the different saving throws are spell magic, ward, circles, poison, drugs, toxin, coma, death, insanity, psionics. These haven't changed much, have they? Are we missing anything here? I know the new TMNT has that strangeness thing put in there, which is basically like horror factor. But are we missing one? I feel like we're missing one. And I can't think of what it is off the top of my head, so maybe we're not. Okay, let's move on. Saving throws apply to attacks other than hand-to-hand combat, including psionics, poison, coma, and insanity. I love saving versus insanity. Crazy. A successful throw. A saving throw is a sort of spiritual or endurance parry. A magic spell or psionic manipulation cast upon someone constitutes an attack, and the victim can attempt to resist the attack. Saving throws are determined by a roll of a 20-sided die. Like a parry, the higher the number rolled, the better. Also, like a parry, a successful saving throw means that the person has blocked the attack and is not affected. There are some potent magic spells which still do half damage rather than no damage if a successful roll is made. Let's go back up here. Sort of spiritual magic or sign manipulation. Okay, there's one flaw. Well, let's get to it. There might be another paragraph. Otherwise, there's one flaw in this this paragraph, and it's a pretty big one. Each type of attack has a base attack strike ratio that must be equaled or bettered by the defender in order to successfully save. Not all magic attacks can be saved against. Ended his sentence with a preposition. all spells, wards, and circle descriptions indicate whether a saving throw is applicable. High-level men of magic can increase the potency of their magic, increasing the number needed to save versus magic. For example, if a wizard has a spell strength of 2, players must roll 14 or higher to save. And that's because the base, which we'll look at in a moment. And so I take back what I said a moment ago, because I thought this paragraph was missing something. It isn't. It's just at the end. Personally, I probably would have put a blurb in here, but you can see he's right at the end of the page. He probably didn't have room for it. So that's fine. So base saving throws. So spell magic is 12. So what we're going to be talking about in the next video is 12. There you go. So for example, wizard with spell strength of 2. So if it's a wizard with a spell strength of 2, normally you have to roll a 12 or higher to save. Well, now because that spell strength of 2, you have to roll a 14 or higher to save. That's how that all comes together there. All right. Wards 13. You can read all the numbers. You don't need all my numbers on there. And doesn't look like these numbers have changed in 40 some years either. I like that. Psionics 15 for a non-site. So this has always been the interesting thing for me. I do not have a problem with this. It's a little quirky, but I don't have a problem with this. Some people do, and I understand why. It's for intuitiveness, right? Spell power is based on the power of the caster when it comes to a saving throw. So if the caster has a spell strength of 2, it's modified to this 12, right? In the more modern editions, it's done based on, I think, the caster's level. I think it's a level, not the spell, if I remember correctly. Okay? Either way, it's based on the caster casting the spell. For psionics, it's based on the target. So you need a 15 or higher if you're a non-psionic to save against somebody using psionics on you. 12 or higher if you are a major psionic and somebody's using psionics on you. And 10 or higher if you're a master psionic and somebody's using a psionic on you. So remember, this 10 gives you a 55% chance because that 10 equals a save. So there you go. I don't know what fumes are, but drugs are bad, okay? So I love that insanity is a 12. It's hard. Still better than 50% chance. Wait, you have to roll 12 or higher. There's not even a 50% chance to save versus insanity. Everybody's nuts in the world. Explains me a little bit. Okay. Armor and how much more do we have to go here? Because I do want to get to. Oh, okay. We're almost done. Because we're going to read that. We're not going to go through this. I might show these off a little bit, but we're not going to spend a lot of time on the weapons. We're going to get through this, and then I will finally catch up on all the chat that you're probably angry with me talking about simultaneous attack. That in a moment. There we go. Zoom in just a touch because I found out that a lot of you weirdos actually watch on a phone. I don't get it, but you do you, boo. Armor in combat. All armor serves to protect the body from being damaged in combat. The two attributes of armor are armor rating and structural damage capacity. The armor rating indicates exactly how much protection is afforded by the armor and how easily it is penetrated. The higher the armor rating, the better the protection. As you recall, any attack roll to strike above a 4, so that's a 5 to a 20, hits doing damage unless parried or dodged. Armor provides additional protection in the case of an unsuccessful parry or sneak attack. And now in bold letters, but I won't scream them at you. The attacker must roll higher than the defender's armor rating to penetrate the armor and inflict physical damage. Die rolls under the armor rating, that should say equal to or under the armor rating, strike the protective armor, damaging only the armor. AR always wins ties. All right. A 5 or better hits, correct? 1 to 4 misses, 5 or better hits. Let's say you've got an armor rating of 13. Putting a number out there. That means a 1 to 4 misses. All right. 5 to 12. Nope. 5 to 13. 5 to 13 hits the armor, and 14 and above hits the squishy nougat on the inside. So if you equal the armor rating, the armor protects. Now, people who have the Redux edition of TMNT know that there's a change there. As you can tell from me already describing this, knowing full well how it works, I screwed it up. I actually like the change. I know a lot of you don't. It's okay. I'm probably in the minority on this one, especially from Grognards. But I will tell you why. Because in all the years that I played Palladium at the table, we saw the armor rating as a target number, so to speak. Not as a tie goes to the defender number. Maybe we were always looking at it incorrectly. But to be fair, I've played in many places, all over the world, in fact, and a lot of the groups. Even though we got the rule right, we did it right, it was just one of those things that kind of, I don't want to use slowed us down, that sounds bad. We always had to kind of think twice on it, right? I don't care. This rule works perfectly fine for me. Zero issues with it. But I will say that if I have a preference, I actually like the new rule better because now I know that 5 is a target number to hit. 13 in the case of the example I was using was a target number to hit the squishy nougat on the inside. There you go. It's just, for me, it's just quicker. It's faster. I don't expect you to agree with me on that. But it's only in the Redux edition right now. This might change as things go forward, but it's only in the Redux edition right now where that happens. Every other Palladium game does exactly what this says right here, which means you have to roll one higher than the armor rating, actually break through the armor. Structural damage capacity. Each type of armor has a specific SDC, which indicates how much damage the armor can withstand. SDC points are identical to hit points, except they refer to inanimate objects, not living creatures. Remember, we're talking first edition here. Don't bring in your second edition nonsense right now. There you go. So SDC is for inanimate objects. Hit points are for living, squishy, bleeding things. Or sentient mushrooms. When armor is struck, the damage is subtracted from its SDC. When the armor's SDC is reduced to 0, it no longer provides protection and is beyond repair. And is beyond repair. Okay. I'm a huge fan of the Free League games, and I love Free League's broken rules, which means once you get it down to a 0 rating, it's not destroyed yet. It can technically be repaired. It's once you do any more damage after that. But this is a nice, simple rule. I'm not complaining. It's just, I don't know why I had it in my head a little differently. So the person's physical body is then open to attack. Example, if a warrior is wearing chainmail armor, hey, look at that, 13. Armor rating 13, SDC 44. How do you come up with a number like 44? Did you just not like 45? You didn't want to use simple numbers? There's some math that went into this that I didn't know about. How tensile that steel is or something? I don't know. I find numbers like 44 to be weird, but that's okay. I also think that weird things like that give games heart and soul as well. So not a complaint. Stop rat-a-tatting on your keyboard right now. I just think it's weird. I love it, though, at the same time, okay? If a warrior is wearing chainmail, armor rating 13, SDC 44, and is struck by a weapon on a roll of 12, the armor is not penetrated. Nor would it have been penetrated on a 13. Let's be clear about that. His armor, however, would be damaged because the roll was above a 4. If the roll was over a 13, the character would take damage because the armor was penetrated. And little quick note that happened on our Discord the other day, and this isn't a complaint or thinking anybody's dumb or anything like that. You know, people envision things differently. I completely get that. This doesn't just mean you found like the one spot that wasn't covered. It could be a weak spot in the armor. One of the leather straps wasn't covering something properly. It could be the inside of the elbow. It could be, you know, the neck guard, whatever that's called. I'm not an armor. I don't know all the proper terms for this stuff, but wasn't high enough or something. Like, it just means that somehow you slipped through. It could be that you had a bludgeoning weapon and you bent the armor to the point where, you know what? You bent that in and you cracked some ribs. The point is, well, I guess if you're only doing damage to the armor, no. But if you're getting past the armor, you beat the armor rating, it isn't just like, oh, you found the eye slit hole because, oh God, everywhere else is covered. Different types of armor covered differently. You just found a weak spot in there. Heck, maybe it was just poorly made. And you found the chink in the armor. And yeah, anyway. See, full suit covers as much of the entire body as possible and can be stuffy, heavy, and restrict movement. The half suit protects only key body areas such as head, chest, and joints. I want to be very careful with this here. Medieval armor is actually more maneuverable than a lot of people give it credit for. That doesn't make this sentence incorrect. It just means I think that some game masters go overboard on this and make it like, well, you can't do anything. You're a turtle. You're in plate mail armor. You can't get up. That's absolutely 100% not true. Okay. Just want to put that out there. I mean, it's not the most mobile stuff in the world, but be careful you don't get excessive on that, all right? Armor restrictions. Anyone can wear armor. Well, good. I can wear a flak vest too. But only men of arms OCCs are specifically trained in the use of all armor, light and heavy. Consequently, they suffer few restrictions in movement or speed except when using heavy chain or metal type armor. Men of arms restrictions. Warriors are not plagued by any restrictions when using light armor. But even those trained in the use of heavy armor find some insurmountable limitations. Weight reduces the character's natural speed by 2 points. Okay, that's not bad. Just 2 points? Okay. That's actually not bad at all. Noise problem. Okay, no matter how stealthy one tries to move, chain and metal armors clank, squeak, and jingle, making prowl virtually impossible. Reduce prowl by 40 points. I'd probably reduce it by even more than that, but you know what? That's fair. 40 points. Probably starts at 40. I reduced by 60. You have a negative 20% chance to not be heard. Non-men of arms and armor restrictions. Those characters not trained in the use of armor will find light armor types, cloth, padded, quilt, or leathers, fairly comfortable and unrestricted, providing maximum mobility with minimal protection. I don't know about padded. Padded is actually thicker than I think a lot of people will give credit. It's like a 4-year-old wearing a snowmobile suit. But this is a game, and this assumes that you live in a fantasy setting where you probably put it on more than once, even if you're a wizard, right? So one of the things I want to be clear about, I'm not trying to make complaints about the game. I don't care what the reality of plate mail armor necessarily is. Like I said, my point was I just don't want game masters to be excessive about it. But at the same time, there are fantasy tropes that are here. So, if you're trying to be a ninja, probably, plate mail isn't going to help you out with that. Okay? I'm just saying. It's that balance between tropes and reality, right? There are no restrictions for use of light armor. Heavy armor, including half suits, is another story. Individuals not trained and practice in the use of heavy armor will find it to be very awkward, very heavy, awkward, hot, and restrictive to movement. If these characters should wear heavy armor, they suffer the following restrictions. This includes all men of magic, clergy, nobility, scholars, merchants, and peasants. Oh, so no fighting clerics in this? Okay. Weight reduces the character's speed by half. That's fair. Movement is impaired. Characters are -2 to parry and dodge. Characters in half suits are -1 to parry and dodge. Prowl is impossible in heavy armor, including half suits. Remember, this is for people not trained in this stuff. I'm okay with this because I would even go so far as to say, not only are you not trained in it, you're probably not wearing something that's strictly fitted for you. That took a year to make, right? So, yeah, I think I think the penalties on both sides might be a touch light, but very reasonable, very meaningful, and easy to adjudicate at the table. And when I say a touch light, I just mean that, a touch. Like I might have reduced speed by 3 or 4 instead of 2. That is such a minor quibble. I don't even, please, God, I just know how you guys are. Don't take everything as a complaint. I'm just kind of brainstorming here. But I think those rules are quite fair and quite reasonable to keep the game going on. Damaged armor. A suit of armor is damaged. As a suit of armor is damaged, the degree of protection it provides is lessened. The most obvious result of damage is a reduction of SDC, but the armor's AR is also affected. Really? I have never seen this rule in my life, and if I have, I completely ignored it for some reason. Maybe it's only a first edition rule thing. This is about to get interesting. When armor is reduced to half its original SDC, the AR is reduced by 2 points. I love armor degradation rules. Off the cuff, I like that. I don't know if those numbers necessarily make sense. I don't care. I like this. When the armor is reduced to 1/3 its original SDC, okay, we're mathing this a little too much now. The armor is reduced by 2 more points. I'd make that a quarter personally, but yeah, okay. I like that. Rule hasn't changed in second edition. Oh, okay. Nobody I know ever played with it, but to be fair, I haven't played Palladium Fantasy second edition a lot either. This needs to carry over to like Heroes Unlimited, Beyond the Supernatural as well. And if it did, it's just I'm sorry, I'm unaware of it. Maybe it's because I tweak the combat a lot and I have my own kind of personal system running it, and so I didn't pick up on that. I should really check after the bomb again to see if that's in there, because that is an SDC game. I love it. I love it. I mean that. I am going to incorporate that in my games. So, all right. Repairing armor. Damaged armor can be repaired and SDC restored. Patching armor is an expensive and time-consuming process. The following table indicates the cost and time involved. And we're not going to go through all that right there. You can pause it if you want to read it. Professional repair is this one down here. Okay. And then natural armor rating. Characters will often encounter supernatural or magic creatures that have natural armor rating. This includes demons, devils, demigods, godlings, gods, elementals, and creatures of magic, and ninja turtles. Any blows struck below a natural AR does no damage, having failed to penetrate their natural defenses. It just boom, bounces right off of them. Of course, rolling above the AR penetrates and does full damage. Again, I'm only saying this for purposes, my technical writer just came out of me as I was reading this. It should say any blows struck equal to or below the natural AR, for clarity's sake. And there we go. That's combat. The hell was that? Somebody just fired a cannon or something next to my house, or dropped a I-beam. The hell was that? The Russians are coming. Let's stop sharing. That was good stuff. I like this. I like this way more than I thought I was going to. And I mean that in all seriousness. Like, okay, it's Palladium Fantasy. We'll see what the old stuff does. Probably got, some more stripped down rules and whatever else. I really like this. Now, I gotta check it. I don't know where the chat starts. Oh God, that's the one I starred, so it's way above that one. Hold on, it's gonna be a while. I gotta scroll way back in the chat here to see what you guys had to say. There's another super chat. I don't know, was I before that? Scrolling back. Scrolling back. Scrolling back. Oh, wait, are we here? Okay. I think I got. All right. There you go. That's the cover. That's it. It should just be. Let me put this back on the screen. The cover should literally be. I gotta somehow get this message to Kevin. Jeremy, Kevin, Sean, somebody, if you're watching, Wayne, Alex, I don't care. This is it. This is the answer right here. Right down here. Just draw his dragon on there. Unleash your imagination. And that's the cover. Palladium fans would love it. I don't know if the normies would. Don't care. Palladium fans would love it. That's what it should be. I love it. Did you note that melee is 1 minute? No, I didn't catch that. Really? I did not catch that. Did I read it and just it blew over my head? Over my head between my legs? Where the hell? I'm zooming in here. Melee. Okay. So, well, I'll be honest, I don't agree with this rule, but just to show it on the screen for folks. Why am I always clicking the wrong button? I want to share. That's the screen thingy. Not that hard. It's not like you haven't ever done this before. Zoom in. A top line. Melee or melee round is the time 2 combatants strike, counter, return strike, approximately 1 minute. Now I'll go with the 15 seconds still. But to be fair, this is probably a holdover from Dungeons and Dragons because while it's not recognizable to me, this was Kevin's like I call it homebrew house rules response to concepts based on I don't know AD&D or well either D&D or AD&D. I'm not sure which one. Either way, but so it's probably a holdover from that. But I'll go with 15 seconds, which is the more modern way. Armor's always better with you in it. Okay, that's a good one. That's a good one. Let's see. Hell yeah, exploding dice. I know, right? I'm a huge fan of exploding dice. Almost any game that uses exploding dice, I tend to like. See. I'm reading through the chat. I didn't have a chance. Normally, Heathen Dog would star some things, but I make sure. So, Palladium Fantasy 2nd Edition, you get 2 actions for being live, 2 hand-to-hand. Okay. I think I put that up earlier, but hand-to-hand expert level 1 starts with 2 attacks per melee round. Okay, so now that's 2nd edition? Page 47. Oh my god, do I have to do this? my old 2E book out with the Dragonlance cover on it. Kevin probably hates it when I say that. All right, hand to hand. Hand to hand basic starts with 2 attacks per melee round. Okay. Hand to hand expert starts with 2 attacks per melee round. Here we go. That was at level 1. So, right here, starts with 2 attacks per melee round. I keep hearing, honestly, I keep hearing the difference. And I think it's because a lot of people came from like Heroes Unlimited, like me, Heroes Unlimited, After Bomb, whatever else, that says 2 and then +2 and so forth. And from my understanding, and to be fair, I haven't dove into this because it isn't that important to me. So I haven't grilled Kevin or Sean on this, and I don't feel the need to, but we have talked about it a little bit. But my understanding is that Rifts and Heroes Unlimited were supposed to be 4 because they're, more superheroes, more empowered games, but like the others were supposed to be 2 per round. I like consistency and I'm used to the 4. So I do 4. In fact, when I was playing TMNT back in the day, because the guys actually came from, when we were playing, they played more Heroes Unlimited than they did TMNT. We did 4 attacks per round in TMNT, but I think I came to find out later that it was supposed to be 2 or something. I just kept the 4 because I was used to it. All right. Once again, we'll put the super chat up there. That's right. Bring back 2 spaces and sentences. I'm with you on that. Yep. And thank you, Nerdy Ogre, for also looking that up. Where's character information on the base 2 attacks? Oh, he put it up there, page 47. Or page 47. It was right. So was I. Things changed though. The quick version is this: I spent 4 years, about 2.5 of it really hardcore, but 4 years researching, we'll just say English, because I had some hangups that we'll just say the intersectional crowd was forcing us to pick up. And I'm like, no, hold on. And so I myself wanted to research what was probable. The MLA really took prominence in universities and in secondary schools because, the educators are educating universities because it was more open. And people used to complain that Chicago was just stuffy and would never change. Right? That's good. Having a single way to freaking communicate makes communication a lot easier because we're all using the same words with the same meanings. Anyway, I'm very much a prescriptivist. I despise descriptivism. Is that a word? But yeah. Let's see. There's some more of these I want to put up, but I've gotta end this video here soon. Okay, so we're at the simultaneous attack area. There. All right. We'll see what you guys are saying about this. Favors those with strategic minds. What do you mean? I find no strategy in simultaneous attacks. If that's what you're talking about, there might have been another conversation going on. Page 46 is where you'll find dodge and lose an attack under. Well, I know you lose an attack action, but I don't. But this one specifically said you're basically done, and the person gets to attack again. Maybe it says it in here, but I can just tell you, I've never in my entire life been at a Palladium table that said that once you use dodge, well, now you just forgo. It was always like attack, reaction, and then next person attack, reaction. When we came back to you, if you were the one that dodged, you still got to attack. This one is pretty explicit that if that happens, you lose your attack and that dude gets to attack you again. So if it does say that in here, I'm not going to take the time to look it up now, not because it's the video length. I'm interested in the information. I will take a look at that, page 46. So number seems to come up a lot. I can take a look. That's the point that I was making there. I mean, maybe we've been playing it wrong. I don't know. Only 2 attacks for 15 seconds is dumb. Well, what about 2 attacks per minute? Which is what first edition is. Now, the whole 2 attacks per minute in D&D or in Palladium is countered by something that some people are okay with, this guy, and some people are not okay with, which is, that doesn't mean I punch and I swing and there you go, those are my 2 attacks, and now I have to wait 58 more seconds. It's the dance back and forth. It's the jab, 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 punch, block, blah, blah, okay, whatever. And then the real flurry that comes in at some point, right? Or, again, even in medieval martial arts, they weren't professional fencers. They didn't fight like fencing. Fencing is a different style. So they could kind of stand around, poke, prod, whatever, what's that Daffy Duck thing? Dodge, parries, thrust, spin. No, I'm not saying 15 seconds is a perfect number. I'm just saying I can understand it. And then in there's a couple of flurry of blows. What happens? Somebody tries to trip somebody. Somebody tries to smack somebody in the head, pummel the sword in the head, whatever happens to be. So it's not like 2 just swing attacks. It's 2 flurries of attacks or 2 openings for an attack is the way D&D, I think, like to describe it. So again, not everybody's going to agree with that. I understand. I don't care either way. 6-second rounds, 15-second rounds, 1-minute rounds. I do think that the 1-minute rounds of D&D and this edition of Palladium Fantasy is a bit silly, but I also understand that timekeeping in a game like that can also get weird too. So I think it simplifies it. So for me, I'm okay with either shortening them, lengthening them, whatever. Like, just tell me what it is. I also like games that say it's approximately 6 seconds. That's just for me. Again, thank you, Squirrel Hermit, for trying to get me drunk. Let's see. Kind of brackets attacks most please. Like a better. Okay. Again, a lot of good comments. I didn't get a chance to read them because of this, but as a proponent of simultaneous attack, it should be used sparingly. And I guess to be fair, I don't think it's used all the time. I've seen people use it purposely for the purpose of metagaming. Yeah, we're going to go with that, of metagaming. That's my biggest issue with it. Everybody metagames. Yeah, but this is the type of metagaming that doesn't make any sense. And I already explained that during the video. So, I think that in not the obscure, in the outlier circumstances, the rule actually does make sense. And if you're willing to be killed, okay, simultaneous attack. I've heard people have, I think it was on our Discord, if I remember, one person said that anytime someone does simultaneous attacks, this is for SDC-based games, that he'll have the attacks go directly to hit points. Oh, that's fair. Okay. Right? I think that's a good rule. Me and my exploding dice, maybe I'd add exploding dice in there. I don't know. I just perfectly rules as written. I don't like simultaneous attack because while it makes sense for the outliers, it doesn't make sense for the general public, so to speak. I also saw a whip mace in Prince Valiant comment, and dawned on me that's meant to defeat shields. A whip mace. Oh, like a flail. Okay, like I mean, I'd have to look up a whip mace. Are you talking something that's on a leather instead of a chain or something? Like a flail? I'm interested in what a whip mace, because I just don't know. I'm not a weapons expert here. Monsters beings with natural armor ratings, with the belief the weapon won't hit them. A 13. Short sword. Yeah, normal people would think that. Then I did start this one because of the paired weapons comment. Paired weapons did not exist until the release of Book 3, Adventures on the High Seas, so no, it's not in the core. So that's not even an argument for this book. Now, to be fair, you can make that argument for the Rick Revised or whatever else down the road. I get it. But for the book that we're reading here, my wife's apparently watching, or was. She told me what's in the coffee, so it wasn't arsenic. We were all wrong. Okay. Yeah, I don't like I honestly, I in the 90s, I got very simulationist with my style. In fact, to the point where I had some game masters like pull me aside and be like, dude, you've got to calm down with this whole real world physics. And just because you take martial arts and just be, no, it's a game. And I struggled in the 90s with that to some degree. But now, no, I don't like simulationist games. I like games with a good framework that I can make a ruling off of. And Palladium and Free League to me are like the two best at that. Disease, same as poison, non-lethal. Okay. Magical incense. Yeah, a bunch of people said magic fumes or magical incense. Got it. I just wanted to make fun of the worm fumes. Jeez, people. Oh, Brave the Knight. Member for 12 months. All right. Why you no violence? You know what comment I'm talking about. Don't do that. Although it was funny. I can't even put that on the screen. Dana McCarthy, the big argument was always 2 attacks per round or 2 additional attacks per round. Yeah, but I think the books are pretty clear. Well, this one's pretty clear. Some of them say +2. Well, if you say +2, that's on top of the other 2. Whether you meant it that way or not, you said +2. But yeah, okay. Okay, we're at the end. Cool. Yeah, Heathen Dog's not feeling well today. Like I said, he's sick for like the 4th time in 3 weeks. So, all right. Sorry for the folks who are watching this on video. If you're still watching it, I need to get through the chat. This is a live stream, and I need to see what's going on there with the comments and put some on the screen that might help you guys out when it comes to interpreting the rules. But let's end this video so we can talk about the wizard. And where's my end screen? There it is, right there. Excellent, excellent, excellent. Thank you for watching this video. Now, it's time for you to jump into another Legion of Myth video because we have an ever-growing catalog of deep dives, read-throughs, fundamentals, and overviews for over 50 tabletop RPGs and counting, all built to help you understand and improve your games. Plus, really helps the YouTube algorithm out because YouTube hates showing old videos to people. But if people start watching those older videos, then YouTube says, maybe we'll resurrect this one. So it'd be great if you necro-watched, commented, and resurrected on some of those older videos. Like, I can't think of any off the top of my head right now. What are some weird games that we covered with that Feast of Legends, that stupid Wendy's one that Heathen Dog covered? And then we had Warrior Rogue. Was it Warrior Rogue Mage? I think that was one that he covered a long time ago. Go check out some of those. Share this with a gamer who may find this older version more appealing. And if we do not cover every section that you desire, pull your resources to request the additional content and help support what we do. Like, hype, subscribe, comment, and super thanks.